Good morning, everybody. It is St. Patty's Day. Just want to bring up the St. Patty's emblem. This is a very special day, especially for the Irish, such as myself. But today, I want to just welcome everybody to EIB. Today is a very special day if you're Irish. So there's 5 o'clock someplace, as Drew said a minute ago. So just want to welcome everybody. Celebrate today, later today, after all your wins. But Tom Ginn here just wanted to, bring back the memory of Chuck Harris. Chuck Harris was the founder of EIB, very influential in the Milwaukee area, helping businesses become more productive, work less, improve the bottom line, um, create sustainability, create a legacy for your businesses. That's what Chuck has established. And we just want to always remember Chuck. And today I will just plant one of Chuckisms. At the end of this presentation, what we're talking about today, what's the one thing that you can take away and apply into your business? One thing, you know, and that I think that's a critical thing that Chuck taught, because many times we get overwhelmed with so many things that we get distracted and don't know where to start. But there's going to be one thing today that you want to take away and implement. Today, we're going to be talking about a subject that's hitting us right now in a very significant way. And we're not going to get into the politics. We're not going to get into any of those issues of how it's occurred, but it is here in a very big way. Whether you're an individual, whether you're in business, we have that challenge. And small businesses are going to get hit harder with these inflationary factors uh, than the bigger entities in business. So today, we want to address, what are you doing to solve that issue for your business, how you can survive through this process, because it's critical. Many times Chuck has talked in the past is, what's the worst case scenario? Most small businesses don't have a crisis management platform in place. What would be the worst case scenario if it hit? And today, hopefully, we're going to set a foundation that will give you some resources or ideas moving forward. But you got to find some ways immediately to combat this, I would call it a crisis. And we don't know how long this crisis will be. So today, I've got a colleague of mine, a friend of mine from New Jersey, and Drew Deraney with Schooley Mitchell. And he's going to be talking about some things that you can, what he does to help businesses cut cost, which is probably one of the most effective tools you can do to offset inflation. And cutting costs, many times people, I don't want to cut value, I don't want to cut the level of service that we have, but Drew's going to address that. And Drew, welcome to EIB. And share a little bit to the audience about your background, where you are, what brought you to Schooley Mitchell, and it's all yours for the next 10 minutes or so, my friend.
Hey, thanks, Tom, for having me on. It's great to be with you. Yeah, I was in the healthcare field for 24 years, in more of operations, procurement, and patient advocacy. And in those 24 years, I started my career in procurement, where I was negotiating lower costs for the equipment and services that the hospital needed. So it was near and dear to my heart. I'm a numbers person as well, and so as I completed my healthcare career, I was looking to actually kind of spread my skills in another arena. And what intrigued me is I always wanted to work for myself. So I looked into the franchise model, and I looked at a variety of different ones. And Schooley Mitchell is absolutely wonderful franchisor, headquartered in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, largest independent cost reduction consulting firm in North America. My passion still lies in healthcare. The way I look at it, financial health for businesses is crucial to have a program to make sure your business is healthy. So in a way, I'm still providing that healthcare. So that's what got me to where I am, Tom, and I've been able to be successful in helping those businesses retain a lot of that hard-earned money.
You know, talk about where the core areas that you can help the small business. You deal with what's your ideal customer? What's your the businesses that you can help the most, the quickest?
Right. What I tell people is the ones that have 5 employees or more, because we do have minimum qualifiers on what you spend per month in order for us to get a substantial cost savings for you, up to about approximately 30%. And 80% of our clients don't switch providers. We find quite often that current providers, we know that their profit margin is quite large, and they want to work with us. When we say we're working on behalf of their customer, they don't want to lose that customer. It costs them more to find a new customer than it does to retain a current one. And another positive for these vendors, even though they're going to lower the cost for their current customer, we always get 2 competitive bids for our clients. So that vendor that's currently with them, if they work well with us, they may be that vendor we get a proposal for a client that they don't have yet. So it works for everybody. And more often than not, the industries I work with, they spend more than they should be on telecom. And that could be your internet, your phone system, even your web conferencing. They're spending more than they should with their credit card processing. They're spending more than they should on their small package shipping. Their waste management, the dumpster in the back of their building, the shredding company they have, take out the shredding, medical waste. We also help our clients with utility, gas and electric. We do fuel, so gasoline, propane, and whatnot. And we do electronic signature. The wet signature has gone by the wayside. So if you need an electronic signature, we will negotiate with all of your current providers. And so I would say the client who can work with us for multiple cost categories simultaneously and are scaled up about 5 employees or more are ones we can do find the most substantial savings.
And you're based in New Jersey, but your reach is where? So just so that people know that how they can get a hold of you and that type of thing. So where's your reach?
Absolutely. The reach is really all around North America. We have 210 individual Schooley Mitchell franchisee offices across North America. We all work together, and the only thing I would need to do is I plug in the address and zip code and name of the company into our database. And if no other Schooley Mitchell franchisee is temporarily protecting that prospect in the database, I'm free to work with them. So that was one of the flexibilities I was able to have when I signed on with Schooley Mitchell.
Yeah, I've got a question for you. So I'm a small business. I wouldn't meet your criterias, but I'm a financial coach and a cost reduction guy myself, and some of my other businesses a little more specific on certain things. But so I'm a small business, 5 employees. To what's the max where you feel you could give the best? Any size company?
Well, it really depends. I mean, if a company spends $750 or more per month on their telecommunications, any way they communicate, that is a viable candidate. If they spend $200 or more shipping stuff with FedEx, UPS, whatever, that's viable. It's $200 a month if they spend on the dumpster in the back or their shredding, and $750 a month on the electronic signature. And then for credit card processing, as long as that company generates $20,000 or more per month or $240,000 a year via credit card processing, that's a viable candidate.
Okay. So I'm your candidate. So I reach out to you. What is the process going to be? What does this look like? I think you mentioned this in one other conversation I had with you, that your initial service, you don't charge anything on the front end, or is there a...
Absolutely. The way to get the process started, we have a 36-month consulting service agreement which really just outlines the parameters. Very simply, the number one says the client says, this is what we want Schooley Mitchell to do for us. The second line says Schooley Mitchell needs this from the client in order to do so. It gives the layout of how we get paid. We only get paid if we save you money. We get a percentage of the savings we secure, so nothing out of pocket. The other main component is that if we were working with you, you can't actually say no to us with a recommendation and then go behind our backs and work directly with the vendor. So that's really all the agreement is, but we work for you proactively for 36 months, continually looking at your invoices. So once that is signed, and then we have a point of contact form signed, and we have a letter of authorization signed, authorizing us to speak on your behalf to your current vendors. Once we have that information, I send that information to our client relations team. They will have a discovery call with you, with our client, and really ask a lot of qualitative and quantitative questions, because the better we know you as a human being, what your philosophies, what your needs and wants are, we will customize our recommendations based on what you need, where you're at. We will collect invoices, 3 months worth of the most recent invoices, your agreements and your contracts. We will also ask for online access to your account. We don't look at bank accounts. The reason why it's best for us to have online access is, number one, we look for billing errors. We will go as far back as we can to see if there are billing errors on previous invoices. If there are, we negotiate a rebate from your vendor for you. We also look forward and not just establish optimized pricing. We will also look in your agreements to see what you're spending on stuff you don't use or don't need. And we know what your vendors have in their portfolio that they're not voluntarily offering to you. And if that's something you need, we will get that for you. So once we have all the information we need from you, we conduct an audit. And our expense analysts are specific to the cost categories. So our merchant services expense analysts only work on merchant services. And once we get all the data they need, it takes approximately 4 to 6 weeks for that analyst to work with your incumbent provider and 2 vetted preferred competitors to come back with a value report, a savings report that details what you are spending now and the entire services you get, and then what you could save by either staying with your current vendor or moving to one of the 2 others. Once we have that report, we will do a presentation to you. I'll come to you in person or over Zoom, and I have the analyst who worked on the project on the phone in case you have technical questions. Once we go over that presentation, you either write there, or we give you about a few days. I'm not pushy, to look at the 3 recommendations, and then you as the client will select, Drew, I really want to stay with my provider. And you will sign off on that recommendation. You may leave money on the table. That's your preference. You may want to switch. That's your preference. We don't do anything until our client picks one of the 3 recommendations, signs off and says, please implement. Once we implement it, I wait for you to get that next invoice. So you can compare invoice before Schooley Mitchell, invoice after Schooley Mitchell. The difference between the 2 is the savings. And only then will I bill you for a percentage of the savings, because I want to make sure you're not taking money out of your budget that wasn't there, that wasn't there to begin with. So you'll know right what you save by working with us.
Wonderful. You came from you were doing cost analysis, and when you worked in the hospital environment,
Mm-hmm.
and big organizations, big companies have people that are watchdogs within their situation. The small business person, that's 5 employees, maybe to 100 employees, whatever. They don't have the resources or the time, and that alone is going to save an organization a lot of money. You don't have to hire somebody. You don't have
Absolutely.
So there's additional savings and operation cost I can see for a small business utilizing a Schooley Mitchell service that you could provide to that small business.
You know what, Tom, even the larger companies, when you think about it, more often than not, an expense management program is usually an afterthought, and it's usually given to somebody in the organization who somebody thinks can do a good job. It's like an additional thing added to their job description. That individual, whether it's a large firm or a small firm, may not be an expert in cost reduction, and they have limited reach. They may have one or two vendors within each cost category to reach out to. So they may think that they have optimized pricing. They may, just with the two vendors they talk to, especially in healthcare. Healthcare organizations believe that their group purchasing organizations they're with, they're getting the best price possible. But more often than not, those GPOs contract with two or three specific vendors in an industry, and that's who they're going to for the pricing, and you're kind of locked in. But for the small companies, you're right, Tom. Instead of hiring somebody to do it, if you outsource it, and plus with our knowledge, we basically say we have four currencies that we provide to our clients. We not only save you money, like I described, we save you time, like you mentioned, Tom. You don't have to have somebody scouring an invoice. Usually, if accounts payable sees it and it looks like the same every month, they're going to pay it. We'll do that work behind the scenes for you. The third thing is the security. When I mentioned that Schooley Mitchell is an independent cost reduction company, we're not tied to any vendors. We don't get commissions or kickbacks. We are strictly a vendor watchdog. So we are kind of like a broker. We can deal with any vendor within that industry. We've got your back. So there that client has the security that while they're working on their core business, they've got somebody like us behind the scenes watching their back and protecting them and keeping the vendors honest. And the fourth thing is knowledge. We have a 26,000 client database. We've negotiated deals for over 25, close to 30 years with over 26,000 clients. So we know what your peers are paying, and we know what your vendors are charging. And so that knowledge we impart and share with you and keep you protected.
Well, Drew, how can people get a hold of you? We're going to be putting this out in different mediums and that into our EIB audience through our newsletter and that. So what would be the best way that somebody can reach you?
I provide you with my link tree. It's linktr.ee/Deraney. You will get my information in there. It's got my website and whatnot. My email address is Drew, so it's DREW.Deraney, DERANEY @schooleymitchell.com. And Schooley Mitchell's SCHOOLEYMITCHELL.com. And I will provide my cell phone. It's 201-739-2464. A discussion with me is complimentary. Once you sign the agreement, the audit.
Drew?
Yes.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
You speak much faster than I can write. 201
739
739
2464.
2464. Thank you.
No, absolutely. And when we do an audit after you sign the agreement, the audit, if we don't save you money, the audit should cost you nothing.
Wonderful. Well, Drew, as we are talking about inflation and the impact it has, if you can reduce typical reduction 20 to 30% in that range, depending on
Yes.
the entities that you're dealing with.
Yes.
Just think about this. If you can reduce your cost 20 to 30%, that's a net profit to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then if even with inflation, 7, 8, 10% in those areas, and who knows what it's going to be, it's a win-win-win. I mean, it'd be wouldn't be prudent of any business owner not to look at your service. I would just say that from my point of view. If I was at 5 employers or more, I would be definitely reaching out to you.
Absolutely. I mean, Tom, I guess I'll end with this. When business owners or business leaders or decision makers wake up in the morning, one of the questions they should ask themselves is, I wonder if I'm paying a fair price for my business services. If they ask themselves the question and they cannot prove that they're paying a fair price, I'll be able to help them.
Well, thanks, Drew. Good morning. Craig jumped on here. Appreciate you being here today. Greg, we're just doing more of an interview profile this morning, and this is going to go out to the EIB team that, we've got about 180 businesses out there in the EIB community, and this is going to go out to even a larger audience. At the end, Greg, I'll have you introduce yourself and that type of thing. But I'm going to be moving in to what I call probably the most exciting thing in business is generating business and new business. But you know, we're as I see it as a small business person, the area that I see businesses struggling is in their marketing. You know, having a marketing budget, being consistent. We've got a lot of silvery objects out there to chase. We got everything from the social media marketing. You've got all your traditional marketing channels that through print media, radio, TV, uh, direct mail. There's so many mediums out there, and most small businesses are overwhelmed with trying to figure out how to do it. And I'm going to share a couple things with you today that I've implemented in my business over the last couple of years. It's made a very significant difference in gaining new clients. See, the key to solving inflation is increasing cash flow. And you can do that in two ways. Number one, how do you get back to your existing customers in an effective way to serve them? Staying top of mind is the critical thing. And many businesses, they get you, they're trying to get another customer, and they forget the gold is in St. Patty's with that thing I put up earlier, is in your existing customer.
Hey, I'm on my way, okay?
And if we could just shut down the mics, that if you're not on it. So your existing customer is the most valuable asset that you have. How do you stay top of mind? How can you serve them better? Well, a small business person is sometimes overwhelmed. They don't have the time. Well, I'm going to share two things that really have shifted around. I'll give you some examples of what it does. First thing that I was introduced in some of my business networks, and I have to say I'm grateful that certain people have led me to certain people in my business network that have brought me to a different level of understanding of the basics of marketing. And the first thing that I was introduced to is, I'll talk a little bit about statistics in marketing. First thing, we know that a lot of the traditional marketing, you got to spend a lot of money. And most businesses don't have a budget even set up to handle the marketing. It has to be consistent. You have to learn what to say to your audience. And that's an area that a lot of businesses struggle with. But 3 years ago, I was introduced through my business network, and I was asked this question: what are you doing with your email? Well, I send emails out. I got a newsletter through email. I've got all these different things. And this is what was brought to my attention. Less than 11% of your emails get opened. Just look at your behavior when you get your emails in the morning. I only open up or save those emails that are relevant to today. It could have been a relevant conversation in the past. I will evaluate it. I'll either save it or discard it. Most of it's delete, delete, delete. Okay? So you're only getting 11% opens. You're getting less than 5% read. So and how much time does it take to put together a good comprehensive email? 10, 15 minutes to get your point across, the call to actions, the documents you want to put together. All those things take time to do it effectively. Here's something that will change your open rate, your engagement rate quicker than anything else you can do, is have a video of yourself talking. You'll get 60 to 80% open rates, and you're going to get 60 to 80% engagement. So just think it as a business person. You increase your point of contact. You're putting a face to who you are, especially in the cold marketing or developing relationships. People by people. People by people. They build a relationship real quick. So a video, and some of you have already, how many have had my dub videos come out to you? It's phenomenal. You get better responses. You can put all your content in that, video links and all that. So as a business person, if you're looking to engage your existing customers, getting back to them, put your face out there. Say, hey, Mike, it's been a while since we talked. How can anything I need to know about how I can help and serve you, versus typing it. When I talk to Mike in that direction, I immediately have a better conversation or a call to action than I would normally do and say, hey, Mike, how you doing? We're here to talk. We got some new things that may help you. If you're not a top of mind with him, he's not even going to read your content. So I'm recommending Dub Video. There's a lot of video platforms out there, and I've used several of them. This is by far the best. I would ask you this. If you can increase your open rate 60 to 80% and engage 60, 80% at a higher level, be top of mind, what would that do for your immediate bottom line? You can move that existing customer to maybe a new product line than you have. You can dive deeper how to serve them quicker. They are your gold, your existing customers. So if you're not using video in your email, I recommend Dub. And in the chat, I will put that out there. That's the first thing I would highly recommend for anybody in business, sales, is to use video in their platforms, even videos in their social media, videos in LinkedIn. This platform integrates with every social media platform that you want to use it for, not just email. So email is a very effective medium. So let's talk about the next resource that I use. This one is fun. This one has opened up some very significant opportunities for me. It's direct mail. Now, we get direct mail every day. Who do we get the direct mail from? Major businesses in the community, big corporations. Why do they do it? It works. The small business person generally cannot afford a direct mail campaign because they got to get graphics, they got to have a marketing person create the content, then they have to have a huge list to market to, so that's costing money. Then they have to have it printed, and then they have to send it out, and you got all the costs associated with it. And a minimum in direct mail is about 1,000 pieces. And guess what? That's a $3,000 to $5,000 campaign before you get it all figured out. Big companies use it. And this is what they know. Direct mail, if it's done properly, gets people's attention, and it stays around on their kitchen table, on their desk, for an average of 13 days. And direct mail works. But the company I'm recommending that people look at is something that is very, very affordable. You can do direct mail one-offs. You can set campaigns up. For example, this platform, just think about the economics. I think, this comes down to how do you reduce your cost to get a new client? What's that ROI, return on investment? How many people sit down after they have an engagement with a customer, met them at a networking event, sit down and write a note, send it out? Number one, that's time. Number two, you got to have a branded card, or you got to have something special. What does that cost you? That could be $2, $3, $4 if you're doing it right. And our intentions are good, but do we do it consistent? What if you had an automated system that did it for you? And in this platform, think it's just the economic for $50 a month. I'm talking economics here. You were able to send out 50 5x7 cards, branded, customized, templated, and all you pay for is postage. That in itself offsets the cost of the program. You cannot get 50 cards in the marketplace and postage for $50. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you get unlimited postcards. Unlimited postcards. A campaign. It could be one-offs. It could be whatever. 4x6 cards. with a person's name across the front with their call to action on the back. You can send a drip campaign the same way you would do a what? An email. This gets people's attention, especially there is no direct marketing company out there that puts your first name, your client's first name on the front of the card. So a strategy in marketing to your existing customers, and you touch them every week or every 2 weeks or whatever, how you want to, you set it up the same way you do anything, very cost effective. The cards are free. You put your own templates in and you got your database and it goes out and you just pay for the postage. Okay. Very effective. If I'm doing a client development and a client relationship, or I want to thank somebody for doing business with me, I want to share this. I enrolled in an academy learning how to do video, how to live stream. And so I enrolled in that program. And guess what I got in the mail through this? A beautiful card from the vendor, from the person I enrolled in the card. Nice picture, thank you. Just cards by themselves mean a lot. But what I got was, on top of it, was something very special. Thanking me. Now, every day I drink fluids out of this. Who's top of mind in my business? When I know somebody that would need his service, he's first that I'm going to recommend. So it's very important to understand how you use direct mail to build relationships, get people's attention, and be creative in a way no one else is doing. You can do these one-offs. Anybody that's out there, if you got an envelope that was this big in the mail, would you open it up? Yes, you would, because it says Thomas has got your first name in it, customized, bigger things are coming your way. And you're going to open it up. You're going to open up the envelopes. It's human nature. You're going to open it up. And then inside, you create your own big marketing piece, whatever it is. You can create it, drop it in, create a template, or use one of theirs related to your industry. You'll get an engagement. And I'll just share this. I'm going to share my screen. Excuse me. I do a program, live streaming several times a week called G-Force. And it's part of my coaching platform and my marketing strategies. Okay. I interviewed a gentleman named Rex Sykes last week. And I'm just going to share this with you, if I can find it. Give me a second here, because this is cool. This is what this type of program does, top of mind. Let me see if I get this up, guys. Can you see that?
Yep.
Let me share. I did the interview. All my guests get a number of things from them. They get a mug, and on the back side, it's personalized, says, Rex, you're making a difference in the world. He got a journal, laser custom to him. He got a pen, a very highly quality laser custom name on the pen. And I spent less than $40. What would a $100,000 customer mean to you? Would you spend $40 to build that relationship? Guess what this led to? He asked me to come on LA Times TV network for an interview to promote my business to millions of people. So you never know, taking your marketing top of mind, showing somebody something special, you appreciate them in your marketing is a very powerful tool. Those two elements I'm talking about, the video, building relationship quicker, time is important, personalization. You can communicate in 30 seconds. Would it take you 20 minutes to write an email? And the fact is, they're not going to read it. Statistically, I can say that. Now, guess what? He's posted this up, not only on my Facebook, my LinkedIn, his entire network, of hundreds of thousands of people. Guess what I've just done? He has promoted Tom Ginn and his business. That would never have happened if I didn't use mailbox power. It works no matter what industry you're in. It could be insurance, car sales, consulting, all these entities. You have a different way to reach out. You are differentiation yourselves. So if you're looking to offset inflation, increase your cash flow quickly, you can do that with a very low cost. Hey, it's less than $350 a year for Dub. That's nothing for the power it gives. And less than $600 a year for having a platform that can deliver marketing information and top of mind information. It's inexpensive. What's the value of your customer? What are you willing to invest? So I just wanted to share that with you as an inflationary tool. Get new revenue. How can I do it quickly? Because a lot of your traditional marketing strategies take time, take money. Here you can take your existing customers, get on top of mind today, not 3 weeks from now, today, with these two platforms. So I just want to introduce that. I believe that's a very significant resource to use to solve inflation. And I just have another colleague. I'm going to Mark, jump on real quick, introduce yourself, and I know you got to jump off. Mark is a colleague of mine. He markets and sells sales training, and I think that's an important thing. Just 30 seconds, Mark. I just want to recognize you coming in because you bring a valuable service to businesses. How do you get your businesses more productive, bring new revenue in? Is what you teach, right?
Right.
It's more
Right.
of a long-term strategy, but you got to have that. Just share briefly what you do, Mark.
Essentially, we help salespeople win more business. We work with sales teams, people are in marketing, operations. We also work with people on how to manage teams, onboarding processes. We have tools where you can evaluate your current team, where they're at operationally, customer service, and they get evaluated that way if people choose to do it. And what I call upon is executive vice presidents of sales, owners, people that have their own businesses, entrepreneurs that are looking to hire a couple people to either promote or market their companies. And it's a system where, you have to get on the phone, obviously, that's what I do. But Tom touched on a couple things. I've been sending out a lot of hippo videos to make connections with people, and they're reading them. I'm engaging with them a little bit more than just the phone, as I use that as a follow-up, so they get to see who I am. And then I live stream with them, or virtually, we make a connection, and that's pretty much it. If you go to salesconcepts.com, you can see exactly what we offer. And we've been around for 40 years, and people that have used us are getting, positive results. Some people right now are hesitant about investing in their team, their company. I understand that. What's going on in the world today, we've kind of noticed a little hiccup. I'm sure you have too in your businesses. People are a little hesitant about moving forward. They want to hold on to the next quarter, but that's what we do. And seriously, check it out. I'm not saying I want to call upon you, but if you know people that are interested in something like this, that are really want to develop, grow, and the people we work alongside of, I've never had a complaint, as to the outcomes. And that's it.
Great, Mark. Thanks for jumping on real quick. This was spur of the moment. I want to bring.
Oh, I know. You caught me, guys, and I deliberately turned the headphones, so you caught me in the middle of calls. So,
All right.
So now I'm out of sync, so I got to get back into sync. So
thanks for jumping on. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of EIB is bringing resources to help you grow your business, the small business. And Mark does a great job in that area. But I'm going to move now over to Mike McDermott. And Mike,
nice to meet you all, guys. I'm going to hit the phone, Tom. So, but thank you for letting me come on here.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great one, everybody.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, you got it.
It's all yours. Mike did a presentation in the last EIB about some accounting principles, some different ways to look. Some of this could be, Mike, correct me if I'm not mistaken. These are more pretty much short-term or long-term strategies to offset cost, or I think taxes. If we can reduce taxes today in any way we can, that's a big deal. But this is what more of a short-term or a long-term strategy, and it's all yours, Mike.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. All right. My name is Mike McDermott. First off, to introduce myself, and I work with a firm called Kankita. Kankita is a Japanese term that means journey in balance. The founder was a consultant to many Japanese firms, Toyota and Mazda, and many large firms, as well as to American firms. McDonald's was one of his as well. And Tom specifically asked me to talk about GAAP today. For those of you who aren't familiar, GAAP stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Personally, I believe that stands for Governmental Alphabetical Acquisition Program, and I'll get into why I say that. That is one of the services we offer. We ultimately are consultants to small businesses. Drew, some of our people in your wheelhouse, we work with businesses of 1 to 30 employees, and once they move beyond 30, they have different issues than we wish to address. But right now, since you're speaking about inflation and cash flow, Drew, I'm astounded at your program. All the savings you represent just adds to the cash flow, and I think that's what a lot of us are concerned with. Our number one step is to make sure that people's businesses are set up correctly. And I cannot tell you, out of the last 3 months, I've talked to 100 people, and 100 people did not have their businesses set up correctly. They didn't have their LLCs structured so that they were sue-proof, litigation-proof. They had jumped in because of changes in the tax law, forming an S corp too early before your revenue dictates. Can be really detrimental, can result in fines and penalties from the IRS. There's tons of things that we do, but one of the things we do is offer an alternative accounting system to GAAP. GAAP, for those of you who are history buffs, GAAP was actually instituted in 1929 as a way to address what happened with the stock market crash. Prior to GAAP, businesses were keeping their books any which way. When you invested, you had no idea what you were investing in, how the money was being dealt with. It was really kind of willy-nilly out there. So in that sense, it was good. But the ultimate goal of GAAP was to make collection of taxes easier for the government. And so it's great. It's a great system for collecting taxes. If that's your business, you're in good luck. If you're not working for the IRS, it leaves you kind of at sea. It doesn't really give you the information you need to manage your business. So, Drew, I'm sure you're familiar with the International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS, that I think Canada uses and our European and Asian counterparts use. GAAP exists completely outside that system. They don't work together well at all. And reconciling the two of them can be a problem if you have an international based business. So I'm going to give you an example here of what GAAP does. This is my first one. Here's a product and loss statement, or P&L statement, and you can see that it is all alphabetical. Advertising, promotion, depreciation, amortization, insurance, maintenance. This is the alphabetical reporting system that GAAP promotes. And I'll give you a real example of why this robs small businesses of their ability to manage themselves well. Here we have salaries, benefits, and wages all lumped together. All right. Now let's imagine that you are a widget manufacturer and you've got somebody in piece rate and he is supposed to produce 120 widgets per hour. Well, he's out in your garage or wherever you've got him set up and he's doing that. What you're paying him is a part of your cost of goods sold, which is up here. But what you're paying him isn't reflected here. It's down here in wages. Well, it's lumped in with what you pay your secretary. Now, does her wages affect the piece rate that he's producing out in your garage? No, it doesn't. Your salary that you pay yourself, is that the same money that you're paying your secretary? No, it's not. So it's like, Tom, I'm going to give you're a fruit vendor and you have to keep track of apples, oranges, and bananas. But we're just going to lump everything together and call it fruit. And you have to sink or swim based on that information. So what we do as a service to our clients when we set up a client and making sure they're structured correctly, we have what's called Minuteman accounting. And we call it a conjugation. We take their existing P&L and we pull out all the pertinent parts. Now, I don't know if you can see this really well, but here for cost of goods sold, we really break down all the expenses, which includes labor, which includes your SUDA and FUDA going into that piece that you're producing. Your direct labor costs, your insurance, your background checks, everything that goes into putting that person on your widget machine is part of your cost of goods sold. So you know exactly what it's costing you to send that widget out the door, not lumped in with what your secretary did for the day, not lumped in with what you paid yourself for the year. It's broken down so you have absolute control. And we do that with everything, every expense, so that at a glance, your accountant, your financial person, your CFO, whoever's in charge of this can look at a glance, and they should be glancing at this stuff weekly, not every 6 months, not annually, but weekly. They should be able to look and see, oh, this is how I'm doing. Plus, we set it up so that you can compare what you did this year to what you did last year. How am I progressing? So everything is broken down at your fingertips, easy to understand, and speaks to you so you can make financial decisions on the fly and adapt to changing situations. And Drew, I see you nodding. Can you see the value in this? I mean, does this speak to the kinds of things that your people are dealing with?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't really change anything for the better unless you know what's happening in your business.
Yeah.
Mike, that brings a question I have, or a thought on that. We're dealing with inflation and it's come on us pretty quickly. So if you're looking at it weekly, you can see where inflation's hitting you. You can make those adjustments now, not after it's going to be after the fact, but not 6 months down the road where you've taken a lot of hit and a lot of pain. I see this type of reporting is very valuable. So you can see things quicker, make those adjustments, especially in an inflationary environment we're in. I can see how this would work. Did I hit that correctly?
Well, okay, a couple of things. First off, GAAP is our overriding, it's the ocean we swim in, okay? So your accountants are trained in GAAP. Quicken, QuickBooks, Xero if you go online. Peachtree, that's all GAAP. And so you are swimming in an ocean that's murky to begin with. And the people that are charged with guiding you through this may not have the ability to negotiate what they actually need to negotiate to make you more profitable and more informed. So I don't mean to lambast an entire industry. Hey, but I'm gonna. Most accountants are schooled in GAAP, and that's what they give you. They spoon feed you GAAP. So you're absolutely right, Tom. Let's take inflation out of the equation. In 5 years, 85% of the businesses that start today will be out of business. That's a horrible failure rate. And part of that failure, we believe, is small business owners' inability to really negotiate where they are financially on a weekly basis. And these reports get updated weekly, so that by Tuesday, you should know what you need to do for the rest of the week to negotiate what you need to do for your business health. And you're absolutely right. If I see costs, and it's week by week. So if I see costs going out of hand, hey, that's the time to give Drew a call. It's the time to reassess what I'm doing, change processes, whatever I need to do to stay afloat. I get him updated immediately. I have a graphic here to show how this. I hope it's a fun graphic. There we go. That's a sentence, folks, and that's all in alphabetical order. So this is what GAP does. It takes all the information you need and it puts it in alphabetical order. Tom, what does that say?
I was trying to figure that. I'm dyslexic, so a lot of those letters get turned around on me. But I thought you did a typo when you sent your agenda for me. So, but no, why don't you go ahead and share?
Okay.
Share.
Well, Drew's a financial guy. What does that say, Drew? Let's see if I can decode this. That's what that says.
Yeah. Okay.
So we can either do GAP or we can do a system, and we can't adopt the international financial reporting procedure for our clients, but we can take what GAP says. If you're using QuickBooks, if you're using Quicken, if you're using any of these programs, we can get those things arranged so that you know how to put them in correctly. Your bookkeeper will actually become one of your most powerful assets. Again, I don't mean to lambaste accountants, but bookkeepers with the Minuteman system actually become more powerful in your business than an accountant, because they have the ability to put this in correctly and give you the information you need to move forward with alacrity and rapidity and react to changing situations. So that's just one of the things we do. First and foremost is getting people set up correctly, making sure that their corporations, their LLCs, their S corps are compliant. I had a client here a couple of months ago. I sat down with him. He's got revenue of $1.2 million a year. He's been working for 6 years on a non-existent LLC. He thought he had an LLC set up. It wasn't set up at all. And should he be sued, everything would be wiped off the board for him. So this is the kind of stuff that we address, making sure that small business owners are set up properly and then have the tools they need to function in a profitable fashion.
Wonderful. Drew, do you have any questions of Mike?
No, I was actually going to look online to learn about Minuteman.
That's what we call our own system. We actually,
so I thought, okay.
yeah, we actually took I can't even call it an accounting program because we just modified an Excel spreadsheet to put in the information correctly so that it's spit out. And actually what it does is it then produces what we call a scorecard. So all the information gets distilled down to a few things that you can look at, basically a scorecard, and go, oh, this is what I need to be doing.
Interesting.
Well, Greg, if you jump on real quick, just introduce yourself, where you're at, and thanks for jumping on EIB today. And this information is going to go out to the entire community. So, Greg, if you just want to say hi to everybody, any questions you have, you're muted, bud.
Myself real quickly. Hi, everybody. Name's Craig Mr. and John, in the process of creating a business plan for what will be called the Center for Life Calling Employment and Psychological Health. Had a great meeting with my advisor yesterday, and our target for this month is looking at various Christian colleges and universities. So excited about that.
Wonderful. I hope you got some value out of this meeting today, and share it out when I'll be putting this out into our newsletter. Share it out with your colleagues. your business associates. That's how we make a difference in the small business. Mike referenced, I forget the number, 80% don't make it 5 years. And I'm blessed. I've been in business for myself since 1983. Yes, I've had some go under, but I'm still running across the water. And it's only through forums like this that have helped me grow and expand, put new technologies in, new ideas in my businesses. And so today, I hope we provided value to everybody out there. So,
I've got one more thing in honor of Chuck. One of the things that our system does, it makes EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It makes it readily available. And if you remember, Chuck was absolutely well, I don't want to say nuts on, but he was profound on knowing your EBITDA. What is the value of your business? Ultimately, when you're in business for yourself, you're going to reach a point where you either want to give it up, give it to your kids, walk away from it, sell it, or lease it. And that's the other thing that we help businesses do when it comes time to move your business on. You want to spend some time down in Belize and drinking your drinks with the umbrellas in them. Well, EBITDA is what allows you to do that. So again, we allow people to calculate that on the fly so they know where they're at and what their business is worth at all times.
wonderful. Well, guys, you did a great job and presenting. Our whole biggest challenge we have today is immediate. How do we solve that? Drew addressed, cutting cost. That's going to increase your net margins, your profits. Mike, you've done the thing. Better way to look at the numbers so that you know where you are on a shorter time frame to offset what inflation is affecting. Because a lot of times you don't see it until 3 months later. You go, oh my God, where did all this revenue disappear from? You didn't have a handle on it. So I think what you shared is so important. And I believe one of the quickest ways to offset inflation is how can I draw more revenue of my existing customers? How can I touch them quicker, more effectively to serve them with those two platforms? I haven't found anything yet that can do that cost effectively and quickly is with Dub, the video email, and the direct mail. Those two have earned very significant increase in cash flow in my businesses. Just those two.
I looked up Dub. I know you sent me an email with a video. Is it, if I watch your video, do you have the information on Dub within the video?
I'll send you the link. It's in that link tree, money tools I use.
Oh, it's in that one. Okay.
Yeah. So it's, I will just spell out Linktree, moneytools.i.use. And it'll have the Dub link. It'll have the mailbox power link in it, and it'll have other links of some other things I use in my business, but specifically what we talked about today. I encourage anybody that's in business out there is how do you increase your cash flow quickly? Mm-hmm. Traditional marketing works, but you don't see the ROI in many cases way down the road. So, well, guys, anything else? We're going to wrap it up.
This is great. Thank you.
I'm going to stop the record.